Warning: Geeking Toyetic is a show aimed at the adult collector, and as such features adult language and humor that is not appropriate for younger audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeking Poetic tonight, otherwise known as Geeking Toyetic. I'm your host, Larry Roberts, if you can't tell by looking on the screen if you are watching, because there's my name right there. This was an unplanned episode of Toyetic. I wasn't planning on doing this today, but as some of you may or may not know, this weekend right now is San Diego Comic-Con 2022. And it's the first, I think, since the whole pandemic thing, it's the first real Comic-Con like experience that they've had for the past couple of years. And as such, man, they have pulled out all the stops. They have announced so much cool stuff. I mean, just across the board. Comic book news, of course. Movie news. Movie news. TV news, all sorts of stuff. But the thing that I'm the most excited about, because I'm a total toy collector geek, and this show is Geeking Toyetic, there is a ton of toy news that has just come out in the last 48 hours or so. I have been posting about it in the Geeking Poetic group that we have that's called, what is it called? What's our group called? The Geeking Squad. Can't even think of it now. Yeah, we have a group called the Geeking Squad group on Facebook. It's free and open to the public to join. Just don't be a jerk and keep it simple to talking about toys and comics and movies and all the fun stuff, and keep all your other baloney out of it. And you are welcome to be in that group. We love having people in there. And I've been posting the last few days about all of these announcements as they've been flooding in. And I mean, the con isn't even over yet, so there's probably going to be more stuff announced, but there was enough new stuff announced that I was particularly excited about that I said, you know what, I am more than happy to just delve into this now in the thick of it and discuss all the cool stuff that I'm looking forward to. There is so much stuff that has been announced. There's no way I'm going to be able to touch on everything. I've grabbed some screen caps of things. I've gotten some official pictures from some of the toy companies to talk about some of these toys to share here with you. But by all means, if you are joining in the chat live, I hope some of you do jump in here with us in the chat. Let me know if there's other things you've heard announced or that you've seen that I'm not touching on. Feel free to just blurt it out there and we will discuss it. Gosh, I don't even know where to start. Okay, Megan has joined me in the chat here. She said her favorite author is at San Diego Comic-Con. Wish I was there. Yeah, man, I wish I could have gone to that too. Wonder what author is it, Megan, that you are excited to see there? You should let us all know in the chat, and I will discuss it here. But here here we go. I'm gonna put a little bit of music here. It's so quiet down here for me. So hopefully that doesn't bother anybody. So if you're listening, if you jump in the chat and you say the music's too loud or it's annoying, let me know and I'll turn it off. And we got more people joining. Carrie Gordon, awesome. It's so good to see you, Carrie. Love seeing you here. Hope you guys are doing well. He says, make mine Marvel. So much announced for MCU. Oh, man. Yeah, I've got a few things that, toy-wise, that I'm really excited about with Marvel. I'll just jump into it, actually, because there's a lot to discuss. And then people, if they come later, if you want to bring it up, we can always go back to it. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that there's been so much announced for Marvel Legends. Now, Marvel Legends is it's not something that I collect. None of these lines, I guess you could say, I collect, you know, religiously, meaning I'm not a completist by any means. I pick and choose the characters that I like. But they've gotten to the point now with their retro stuff, and let me jump in here real quick and say, so much of what we're seeing announced at San Diego this year regarding toys especially is so retro themed. There's some cool new stuff, but almost anything that I'm going to talk about, with a few exceptions here, is going to be some sort of like retro throwback kind of toy. It just seems to be where it's at anymore, even with younger collectors, which is interesting. I get older guys like me being really into the retro stuff, but it seems like it's really popular with younger collectors and fans too, which I guess stands to reason. I mean, look at all the stuff that younger fans are into now. It's all time travel-y and throwbacks, Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, all that kind of stuff. It touches on old nostalgic stuff. So, and that's going to be very much true with the toys. But with the Legends line, you know, a couple years ago they started doing the throwback stuff to the 90s Toy Biz toys. I've talked about it on the show before. They have really delved into it now. They have branched out where they're not only doing the old early 90s general Marvel line, but they're doing Spider-Man, which they've been doing, I guess, for 2 years now, something like that. But now they're bringing back like the Iron Man series that they put out back in the early mid 90s. They're touching on all that stuff, and they're bringing out some really cool characters. And let me show you here the first batch. I'm just going to bring these up gradually, haphazardly, as I'm talking about them. For those of you at home that are listening and not watching, I will describe what I am showing so you don't feel completely left out. All of this stuff, by the way, that I'm showing right now, it's not really super exclusive. You can find all this stuff at this point online somewhere. So, you know, while you're listening to me, go to Google or whatever your search engine is and look for this stuff, and then you'll see. But for those on YouTube, here we go. So, as you can see here, yeah, they're delving into the other packaging motifs there, and what's really cool is they're not only doing classic characters that were big back then, such as you see like Apocalypse in the old X-Men packaging and Rhino in the Spider-Man animated series packaging, but they're doing characters that they never did before, like Peter in the paper bag over his head thing in the Fantastic Four suit and all that stuff. Like, that's just really neat to see them delving into things like that. I'll see if I can, maybe, I don't know if I can. Yeah, it's probably about as big as you're gonna get it there. I think I can't get it any bigger than that. I apologize, but yeah, I think that's great. That Rhino there that's on the screen, that looks tough, man. I don't know if anybody remembers, if any of you are watching or listening are old enough to remember, but back when the Spider-Man animated series figures came out in the mid-early 90s, that Rhino figure was hot. Like, that was really tough to find for a time. I can remember going to KB Toys constantly trying to see if I could find them, and then I finally did, and I have a couple of them because, like an idiot, of course, I hoarded a bunch of them. But that's what we do, right? So anyway, I thought those are really cool. Another figure that I'm really excited about that they announced, I think looks great, is they have a Professor Beast figure from the Uncanny X-Men line. I love that figure. Now, I want to talk about this real quick in case anybody starts asking. A lot of these toys that are being announced and that I'm talking about here are going to be available through various outlets, whether it's through Walmart or Target or Entertainment Earth or through HASBROPulse.com if they are a Hasbro product. Some of these, I do believe, though, for right now at least, are going to just be convention exclusives. I'm not... A few of these I wasn't 100% certain as to what was going to be a convention-only exclusive and what one was going to be what they call a shared exclusive, meaning you could get it at the convention, but you could also get it online at a different retailer other than San Diego. So I'm not sure about this Beast one. I'm pretty sure you can get this Beast on HASBROPulse.com. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm going to be finding out soon because I literally just found out about this figure like a few hours ago, and this is one of the ones I really want because I love Beast. I love the whole motif of him in the professor coat because he comes with the white coat. He has a change of hands, change of heads, so he goes from intelligent, quirky Beast look into the aggressive, feral Beast look, depending on which head you put on him. I love these Marvel Legends, man. I wish I could afford to get more into them, but man, they're very expensive. There's a few others that they came out with. Another one that I am super duper excited about because this was, again, we're getting all retro here, but we're going back to early 80s with this. Another thing that I was really excited about is that they announced a 3-pack coming out, and I know that this is a shared exclusive that you can get from the convention as well, order at the convention as well as get on HASBROPulse.com, and that is, I will bring it up here, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends 3-pack. So it's got Spidey, it's got Iceman, and it's got Firestar. So that's super cool. Now, I've seen these figures in other forms and stuff, but I just think it's really cool that they're coming out in this set. It's a shame I don't believe it comes with Miss Lion, the dog that lived in their shared apartment on the cartoon series, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. So I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I'm a huge Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends fan. So anytime they put out anything that's related to that, they get me hook, line, and sinker. I'm all in. Okay, we got some comments coming in, some questions. Carrie says, what are your thoughts about Hasbro going away from any clear plastic display on their upcoming figures? Man, that's a great question because that is a super hot topic right now. And it's had a bunch of us kind of in a bit of a quandary ever since they let that be known several months back or so. We hadn't seen up until pretty recently, up until now, basically, we hadn't seen what these packaging changes were going to look like. And now we've seen them. I have a couple of different thoughts about it. First of all, from what I've seen, and I will actually show some packaging examples of this. In fact, you know what? I'll go ahead and I will show you guys what it looks like. Again, my apologies to the people at home that aren't going to be able to see this. But let me see if I can look through the list and I'll find a good... here's a good example, because I'm going to be talking about some G.I. Joe toys and stuff. So, G.I. Joe as well as Marvel and everything is a Hasbro thing. Here is a picture of... There you go. It should be on the screen now. Here's a picture of what packaging is going to be like for Hasbro products. What you see on screen is an exclusive, just announced G.I. Joe Classified Series Sergeant Slaughter figure, which is really cool. That's pretty exciting. I mean, who doesn't love Sergeant Slaughter? He's a silly bastard that he is, especially if you're a G.I. Joe and a WWE, or WWF as it were back then. If you're a fan of both of those, then you got to have Sergeant Slaughter. It's really cool they're delving into this. But what you can see there is that there is no plastic on that box. It is a solid printed front on there, just with various animated pictures of the character, and then down in the corner there is a little picture of what the actual figure looks like. On one hand, I am perfectly okay with this because I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to be conscious of the environment, and worrying about plastics and how much that is disrupting our well-being and stuff. So I get all that. Is it a bummer to not be able to see the figure in the package? Yeah, it is. But this isn't the first time we've bought toys like this. I mean, it's not like we've only ever bought toys that had a window on it and stuff. You know, back in the day, you would buy boxed Micronauts toys, you would buy Shogun Warriors. There was all kinds of toys that just off the top of my head I could think of that you didn't get to see what the toy inside looked like other than a little picture on the front or back of the package. So on that hand, it doesn't bother me that much. Yeah, like Kim, welcome. Glad to see you here. Kim says, it's almost like a blind box. Not sure I'm digging that. Well, I guess the only difference with a blind box is that with a blind box, you don't know what you're getting, like, at all. I mean, it's a gamble. That's like buying a scratch-off ticket. You know, you might get $2 or $50 underneath, or you might get bumkus. I mean, at least with a blind box, you know you're getting some toy, but it's more of a gamble. I mean, at least with this, you know what the toy is supposed to be. Now, one thing that collectors have brought up as a concern, and it's a legit concern, is the idea that if somebody wants to open the box and swap out a figure, there's no way for you to really for sure 100% know that until you get it home and you open it. And at the same time, even if people aren't opening the boxes at the store for unscrupulous reasons like that, to swap out things and con you, I think you're going to have a lot more damaged packaging happening, because you're going to get people at the stores that are going to open the boxes because they're going to want to. The jerks are going to do it because they're just going to be nosy and want to see what the figure looks like. And then the people who aren't necessarily jerks, but they're just wary of the whole thing, are going to want to open it to make sure that the toy that they're buying is the right one. It's a problem. I get it. I wish there was a better solution for this, but I'm really not sure what that solution is. Now, I wanted to bring up another thing, and I have the toy. I've shown it on the show before, but I wish I had it with me so I could show as an example. Some of you might remember that Hasbro did a little thing. They've done it a couple of times, I think, where they did Black Series Star Wars figures, and they had them in a box. I think it was a Luke, and they had them in a box. Which Luke was it? Was it a ceremonial Luke? It was one of those Lukes where they had him. It was a special limited one, and they had him in a package where he had a front lid, and you opened him, and inside, and you could open the lid and see. You could actually touch the figure. There was no plastic covering over the figure. The figure was just kind of inside this little cubby hole thing, holder in there, and he was strapped in with, tight zip tie things, so you couldn't easily remove the figure from the package. I thought that was actually like a pretty nice halfway point, you know what I mean? Because you could actually, it had like a little Velcro thing so that the lid stayed shut, but you could pull on it, open the lid like a book, and then see the figure, but there was no plastic window covering. I thought maybe that was going to be the way they were going to go with this, is do something more like that. Now, maybe they chose not to because maybe there was problems with that. I don't know. Maybe they had issues with retailers saying, the figure was tampered with, or it was stolen or broken or whatever. I don't know. I don't necessarily think this is the final all-around perfect solution for what they need to do in order to be safety, health safety conscious, but also still making a cool looking product. What I do know is it's going to affect sales. It's going to. There's so many. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that talk shit, pardon my French, that talk shit and say, I'm never collecting this again. I've done things like that, and then I still buy them. just keep reeling me in. But I've seen so much pushback, and I know that for a lot of mint in box collectors, like I do, some things I collect mint in box, as you can see behind me, it affects how I feel about the toy very much. So I don't know. And as it was, I've talked in the past couple of Toyetic episodes that I am kind of getting to the point where I'm going to start phasing out some of these toys in my collecting, like the Black Series. I have not ordered. I still have some Black Series toys coming in that I had ordered like a freaking year ago that are only just now getting into people's hands. But I've stopped ordering Black Series, and it kills me because, man, they've announced some really, really cool Black Series toys that are coming out, and I've been so tempted, but I just can't afford it anymore. And now that this packaging is like this, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure that I would keep collecting it the way it is because of the way I like to display my Black Series stuff, because I liked the packaging. I don't know. We'll see. We got more comments. Megan said she's not digging that. Wants to see what she's buying. I guess it's not unheard of to buy just a box, but I don't know. Toys are different. Yeah, exactly. So we'll move on from this in a second because I know people are like, show us more of the toys. The only cool thing I'll say is that Hasbro did announce that when it comes to certain lines, like for example, hang on, bear with me. Of course I don't have one right now, right in my hand. And when it comes to something like, say, their vintage collection figures, you can see for those at home that can't see, I'm holding up a Rogue One. Oh, that I just dropped. Great. Rogue One Scarif Stormtrooper. This is a hard one to find now. These ones that the whole point of them is that they come in like retro packaging. It's meant that you're buying it because it looks like an old carded figure from 1982 or whatever. They said they are not, at least for now, they are not going to stop using the plastic bubbles. And so for these and the retro collection figures, which, I mean, their entire existence is predicated on looking like they did back in the 70s and 80s. They are going to keep making them as they were. It's just going to be these more deluxe type figures, the Black Series and stuff like that, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, all those bigger ones where the figures are like 6 inches or taller and come in more of a box. They're not going to be window box anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to affect the sales of some of these things. I'm very curious about that. Meg says it's like the Transformers that come in the cardboard boxes. Oh yeah, you're talking about the Generation Selects figures that I get from Japan and everything. Yeah, it's the same idea. And that's the other thing too I was going to say is that, I mean, in terms of people being like, well, I want to know what it looks like. There's so many pictures and videos and things of all these things online that in most cases, I think most collectors, are going to be able to tell the difference and they're going to know what they're getting. But there's going to be problems with it. There just is. I mean, it's not a matter of we can sit here all day long debating about is it cool, is it not cool, is it yay or nay. I think that there's no question that it is going to affect sales. Maybe I'm wrong. And you know what? I would be happy to be wrong. Because I don't want to see sales affected of this stuff. I want them to keep making super cool shit, So we'll see. Since I showed that G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter, let me show another exclusive that they just announced today along with the Sergeant Slaughter. And it's another example of the non-windowed box. It is none other than Dr. Mindbender. Yeah, that guy. I think it's a great looking figure. He comes in a really cool, and that's a cool example of a box. Like he's sort of in like a slip box as well as like a door box kind of thing that opens up. love it. I think that's super cool. I'm sure that those kind of things are going to also result in price hikes, because the more elaborate they make the packaging, you know, it's going to end up costing us all more. But yeah, I think that's a super, I think that is a super looking figure. I love all the accessories he comes with. He comes with his gun, and he comes with the brain and the jar, all young Frankenstein style. He comes with a lot of accessories. Packaging looks fabulous to me, and I was pretty excited that this was announced. Now, this is another line that at one point I was like all in on, and I'm probably not going to be collecting everything anymore like I used to. I wish I could afford to collect all these toys like I once did, but at this point I don't know. So when it comes to some of these more expensive ones, such as the classifieds, especially when they're coming out with all these exclusive ones, I just can't keep up with it. So anybody at home, if you're like, man, all these toys, I can't buy all this shit, I feel you. I get it. So, but these two, that Sergeant Slaughter and that Mindbender, if I can get my hands on them, I probably will, because those just look super cool. And we got more comments coming in. Carrie says, we just had the Sergeant Slaughter at Comic Palooza last week. I saw that. Yeah, for those at home that don't know, my good friends Carrie and Kim here, the Gordons as they were, participate in helping to make Comic Palooza a thing, and which is awesome. One of these years, I'm going to get down to Comic Palooza, because it always looks awesome, and I always get jealous when I see all of the photos that you both put up online. I saw that Sergeant was there. I hope he was cool. I've heard mostly good things, that he's like a pretty cool guy to deal with. I know some of these guys, especially as they get older, can get a little bit curmudgeonly. But Slaughter, I've heard, can be very friendly, and he loves seeing the little kids and stuff, especially when they're dressed up. So that is awesome. Yeah, Megan says the same thing. Hopefully one day we can make it down to one of those. And you admit that's a sweet looking box. Exactly. I mean, I talked about this before. I love packaging. So my thing is if you're going to compromise certain elements of the toy packaging for these things, such as removing the window, then at least make it worth our while. Like, make it a super freaking cool looking box. That in and of itself is going to be awesome to look at. Yeah, we'll see. But anyway, getting back, keeping with the G.I. Joes, I've been really into and trying not to go crazy with it, because again, there's so much of them now, and they're not cheap. But I've been really into the Super 7 stuff. I think Super 7, I know people can criticize them sometimes for their prices, but I think Super 7 makes cool as hell toys. I think it's super cool that they cater to like the punk and metal underground with a lot of their stuff. Of course, that's hitting a sweet spot with me. I think it's great that they bring out characters and stuff that are deep cuts, like bringing out, like making a Quinn figure from G.I. Joe of Quinn from the Arctic episodes and stuff that they did. I think that's like super duper cool. And they've got a couple of new things they announced. I really want to get that Snake Eyes that I'm showing here. So it's one of the 3 3/4 inch Snake Eyes. He comes with his Uzi, and he comes with his sword, his Japanese sword. And the card art is from, if I recall, it's from G.I. Joe number 21. It's a very famous issue of G.I. Joe. I think it was the first one of its kind where there is no dialogue in the entire comic. It is this whole story is told just with images. Because if you know, Snake Eyes does not speak. And so they really capitalized on it. And that issue 21, that would have came out in, what was that, 84? 84, 85, somewhere around there. I'm getting old. I'm slipping here. I used to know all these dates perfectly, but that was a big issue, man. That was a super, super cool. It's one of my favorite G.I. Joe issues. So the fact that this is a figure specifically based on that, I want that. They also announced editions, as you see there, of that cool Cobra Bat character added to their Ultimates line. Now that is the figures. Those are bigger figures that are a little more akin to what Hasbro's doing with the classified line. Those are super cool figures. I have not collected the Ultimate line because, again, I just can't afford it. But it kills me every time they announce them because they are super cool. So for those of you that collect the Ultimates, there you go. There's a cool addition to the line for you. We got more comments coming in. Carrie said, we had a 5-minute conversation with Alice Cooper about the MCU at Comic Palooza. That's awesome. That's great. I'm a huge, massively huge Alice Cooper fan. Alice Cooper is the reason I play music. He literally is. The first album that ever made a huge impression on me when I was 3 years old was hearing Alice Cooper's Love It to Death album on 8-track because my aunts and uncles thought it would be fun to try and scare me with it. They brought me in the room and turned the lights down and said, listen to this. And they put on Black Juju and Ballad of Dwight Fry. And they thought it was going to freak me out. And it didn't. It didn't freak me out at all. I actually ended up totally loving it. So it made me what I am, because from there, then it was like, I want more. And then I discovered Kiss and Cheap Trick, and the rest is history. So that is super cool that you got to talk to Alice Cooper, and Alice is a nerd. He's a big nerd. He's always been into sci-fi. Of course, we know he loves horror. He loves superhero stuff. He's great. So that is awesome news. It just makes me really, really want to go down there that much more. I think I'm going to, let's see, what do I want to show next? Because there's a bunch. Oh, one cool thing. This is a real quick one. Something that was announced and is an exclusive for the convention from NECA, NECA. They make really, really detailed, cool action figures. For those that aren't totally aware, NECA is like the company that, if you've gone into places like Target and you go over where they have the more collectible toys, which is usually located over in the electronics and media department, they always have those really detailed figures. You've seen, things like Stephen King's It figures and various other stuff like that over there. They announced, and I just thought this was such a cool idea, and I know a couple of friends, people like Eric Kiki in particular, who is a regular viewer here of Geeking Toyetic, and he joins us in the Geeking Squad all the time, was going to want this. So Eric, if you see this, sorry buddy, but you're going to be spending more money. It is John Carpenter's The Thing movie poster figure. It literally, it's the movie poster of the shape, the person standing there with the beams of light coming out of his head. They made an exclusive figure out of that. I'm sorry, but I just think that's fucking cool. Like, that is just such a unique idea. And that is a perfect example of something that I can see being just a convention exclusive. I sometimes get mad when they do these convention exclusives of toys that I think are obviously going to be toys that would have a more wider appeal. Because being an exclusive means it's going to be more limited, it's going to be much, much harder for the average person to get, and it's going to end up costing a fortune on the aftermarket. And when they do that with characters and figures that they know so many people would want, I just feel like that's kind of screwing a lot of people when they do that, because I don't know. I mean, everybody can't have everything, and there's plenty of things that I would love to have in my collection, and I can't afford it or I can't find it. That's just the way it goes. These are just toys, you know. This isn't you know, bread and water and things we live on, you know, that we need to exist on. But I just think that if you're going to make convention exclusives, make them more things like this Thing figure, man. Make it something really unique like that you wouldn't just expect to find on a Target shelf or a Walmart shelf or wherever. Make it something really nerdy like this that, you know, the real hardcore diehards are going to seek out. To me, that's really what a convention exclusive should be about. So I think that's super cool. I just wanted to show that. I thought that was a really unique piece there. So, you know, good on you, NECA, for making that. You guys keep making such interesting, unique toys that I thought that was pretty cool. I think I'm going to jump into talking about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Because I'm a big fan of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. There is more He-Man and the Masters of the Universe toys out now than there ever has been in the existence of the brand, of the toy line. It is insane how much is out. Of course, because we have the new cartoon series on Netflix, and then of course we have the classic one. There's comic books. They have not only added to the line, but they've resurrected everything. We've got the classic Masters of the Universe stuff. We've even got the later 80s, early 90s He-Man stuff. They're even, now I saw they're even going to start doing some toys that are throwbacks to the early 2000s animated series, Masters of the Universe, and the toy line. I loved those toys. Those were really, really overlooked and underrated. I think it was just too soon, maybe. But those toys that came out back in when did those come out? Would it have been like 2002? Maybe 2003, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but most of you probably, if you're around my age or younger, you probably remember those. I thought those were great toys. I collected, I probably have like damn near 85% of that entire line. I collected almost everything from it, and I still have most of it. But now they're even touching back on that. So again, with this, I can't collect everything, but there was a few things that they showed that I thought was super cool. First of all, shown here on the screen now, I love this 2-pack of He-Man and Skeletor. I'm a sucker for things like this. And here's another example. Now, I do see, now this is Mattel, so this isn't Hasbro. But here's another example of where they're doing something really unique with packaging. I see that they do have plastic windows there to actually cover the figures, but they probably could get away with not even doing that. And just having that sort of like fold-over flap thing going on so that it unfolds like a box or a package of sorts. But yeah, these figures look great. I love that they come with all the weapons displayed as they are. Each even comes with 2 of the mini comics. Of course, that's always been tradition with these He-Man figures, is the mini comics that came with them. For those that don't know at home, back when these figures first came out back in 82, there was no cartoon. There was very little known. I talked about this on the last episode. If you go back and watch my Toyetic episode from a few weeks back when I talked about the toys of 1982, there was no real backstory for He-Man. The only way you could find out about them was to buy the figure and read the little mini comics that came inside the toy. And so I think it's cool that they're still doing that. I love the way that is displayed. And there's more stuff. You know, they, of course, like I said, they just recently, fairly recent, what was that, a year and a half ago, something like that, they came out with the whole Masterverse thing. And as you see now, I'm showing they've added a bunch more characters to the Masterverse. There's 8 new characters. A couple of them that stand out for me that I really love is that Manny Faces looks excellent back there. Stratos, I'm a big Stratos fan. That was one of my favorite figures back in the day. They've got a Stratos. There's a Shadow Weaver down there. There's Sorceress there. There's a lot of really cool figures. So Mattel is knocking it out of the park with these things. Again, I'm trying not to go crazy with this stuff. I've mostly been sticking with the Origins line because as great as the Masterverse stuff is, I just can't start collecting a whole nother line. But I know a lot of people, I know a lot of you out there are really digging these figures. So there you go. 8 awesome new figures added. But let's see. Speaking of the more classic type figures, another thing that I thought was really cool is they are doing a Sunman line. I think this is great. I love the idea, and it's one of the wonderful things about Masters of the Universe is that it is universal. It's inclusive to all different kinds of people from everywhere, and I love that they have characters like Sunman and that they're expanding on that. I know a lot of people that are actually pretty excited about these figures. I definitely want these guys here from this group. So as you can see, they got them there, coming with the comics. Legend of Space Sumo. It's great. So yeah, that's super cool. And last but not least, unfortunately for me, the thing that I got the most excited about when it came to Masters of the Universe is, oh God help us, they are going to make a Masters of the Universe Origins series version of the Eternia playset. Look at that thing. That is fantastic looking. So for those that may or not remember, the Eternia playset, the original one that Mattel put out back in, when would that have been? Around 85, 86, I would say, somewhere around there, was a massive, massive playset. For those that think back and remember, the Snake Pit and Castle Grayskull, and you think that, those were huge. Those are nothing compared to the Eternia playset. That thing was so cool, and much like other toys of its time that came out from another Mattel toy, like the Barbie Dream House or the G.I. Joe USS Flag, those giant toys that only most of us, if we knew anybody, we knew that one or two lucky kids in the neighborhood or whatever that got that for Christmas or for their birthday or whatever they got it for. Yeah, that was the Eternia playset. I never had it. It came out, even though I loved He-Man for the first couple years, by the time the Eternia playset came out, I was too old for it. My younger cousins were into He-Man still, and I don't recall them having the Eternia playset. So, of course, as an adult, I look at the Eternia playset and I'm like, oh, I want it. But getting a vintage one is very expensive, and it's hard to come by. So, seeing that they're coming out with one for the Origins line, and I collect the Origins line, and I have the Castle Grayskull, of course I want this thing. As you can see, it's pretty tricked out, and it looks so cool once you add all of the loose figures and the different vehicles and stuff. What a fantastic job they did there displaying that. That's a picture that I'm showing is from the actual Mattel booth at San Diego, and man, that thing looks great. So, for you diehard He-Man and Masters of the Universe fans, you better start socking away some dough, because I don't know what the price is going to be on that, but I don't imagine it's going to be cheap. And it's going to be huge, so especially whether you keep it boxed or whether you open it up and want to display it, you better start thinking about your display options, man, and making some space, because I know I ain't got no room for it. So we'll see. All right, I gotta move along because I'm taking too long here. I know I'm already almost an hour into this. One of the things that really caught my eye was the fact that I knew, I'm not going to pretend I didn't know these were coming, but I didn't know when they were going to come, and I hadn't seen them, so I didn't get my hopes up. I didn't know what to expect, but then I saw them and I went, oh shit. Okay, something that I am all in on is the fact that Mego has a booth, and they announced that they are re-releasing the world's greatest superheroes figures. Now, the interesting thing about this is this isn't the first time that the world's greatest superhero figures have been re-released, have been reproduced. For those that know, and I've shown them and talked about them plenty on the show before, Figures Toy Company, which is a much smaller company, got the rights, somehow they got the rights to these figures, and they reproduced them years ago, and up until fairly recently they were producing them, and they were pretty faithfully reproducing these vintage Migos. Now, of course, they only have the DC license, so they can't do Spidey, they can't do Iron Man, they can't do Fantastic Four. But Batman, Superman, Robin, Green Arrow, all those guys, they could do. And I loved the figures from Figures Toy Company. I thought they did a great job. I loved the 12-inch versions that they did of them, where they did the double-up versions of the, or not quite double, I guess 1.5 up versions of the 8-inch ones. I thought they were great, but I know a lot of people felt that the quality wasn't as good, and this and that, and some people care about the fact that it's not officially Mego. Well, your woes have been answered, because Mego is officially remaking these heroes. And here's a picture. I apologize, it's not the greatest picture. There's not really much in the way of promotional photos out there of these things yet. Just pictures that people grabbed from taking it through the glass at San Diego this weekend. But here is an example. The 3 figures on the bottom and the figures in the upper left and right hand corners are the new reproductions. They are not only faithfully reproducing the figures, they're faithfully reproducing the window boxes. Those things are awesome. So for an older guy like me, that brings back so many memories, and they look great. You see there's the 2 Batmans there. The Batman that is in the background is an actual vintage Batman. That is not one of the reproductions. The reproduction is the one in front of it, but they put it there just so you could basically compare and see how close the 2 are going to be to one another. Now, if you're looking at that, you'll also notice that there is what right off the bat, one of the defining features of the new ones is that there is a 50th anniversary Migos sticker on the front of the packaging. That is, I'm told that is just a mock-up. So for people, if they look at it and go, oh, that looks kind of rough, or, that should be shinier or brighter or whatever. It's just a mock-up that they did for the Comic-Con and everything. These are not the final version that is going to hit retail. So, but I still, even as it is, I think that looks super cool. I'm glad they're doing that. And just so you can kind of compare, I do have a picture for those at home. Here's a clearer picture of, these are not the new ones. These are the original ones. So that's an example of ones they're doing, and they are doing it just like this. They're going to do the removable cowl Batman, which is very exciting for a lot of people. A lot of people are really excited because removable cowl Batman, even for vintage collectors like myself, it's not easy to find them, especially not to find them in good shape. And so there you go. There's going to be a removable cowl Batman re-released to the public. That is so exciting to me, folks. I can't even begin to tell you how cool that is to me. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about Mego because I go on about Mego a lot on this show. But one last thing, Mego's not just doing, it's not all throwback. Mego, good on them for being a company that's from the 70s, are doing a lot of cool new stuff. One figure, there's a bunch of figures they showed, but the one that really caught my eye was Flashpoint Batman. Again, I apologize, it's not a great photo, but hopefully soon we'll get some really good, proper promotional photos that we can share of this. But this is just a shot somebody took through the glass. Flashpoint Batman. So they are doing newer versions of characters and stuff that was never released. These are not just all repro. And Mego, I've talked about them plenty. Like I said, this is a company that when they restarted back a few years back, it was a little bit of a rough start. There was definitely some hurdles they needed to get over with some of the sculpting issues and packaging issues and all that stuff. But I think they are doing phenomenal work now. I am fully behind Mego. I just love the stuff they've been doing, and I know there's still a lot of naysayers out there that are not happy with the company and stuff, and not happy with some of us who still support the company. And, well, you know what? Tough titties. Because I think Mego is awesome, and I support them, and I think they're good people. There's another figure, I don't have a promo photo of it, that I thought was pretty cool. They are going to continue on making more monsters. One of the monsters, now as of late, they've been doing a lot of like the classic monster stuff, like Hammer horror stuff, and going like way back. But they did announce that they're doing a Leatherface figure, and I did see a rough picture of it that I thought looked pretty damn cool. And I will probably get that, even though I'm not like the biggest slasher guy. That Leatherface figure looks really awesome. So yeah, Mego's doing a lot of really cool stuff. And I believe, for those that are interested, if you're going, okay, well, when and where can I get these? I believe I saw just before I went on air that some of these Mego figures are already available for pre-order at entertainmentearth.com. So if you're looking for those, go check that out. And I highly encourage you to check out MegoMuseum.com. I've been a member over at Mego Museum for almost 20 years, which is crazy. And they always are the first to know about all this stuff. And people like Brian Heiler, who also does Plaid Stallions and Pod Stallions, are arguably my favorite podcast in the world. Brian is always on top of stuff, and he's always a straight shooter with all that info, and he gets it out to you as quickly and concisely as possible. So if you're interested in more of this Mego news, check out MegoMuseum.com. They are good people as well. All right, let's see. So what have I not talked about? Well, a couple of the more obvious ones that I've not talked about, and I will talk about now, is Transformers. A lot of people were eager to see what they were coming out with for Transformers. One of the cool things that I saw that they announced was they were coming out with what is it called again? It's this. Oh man, I can't even say it. But they've got these racer figures coming out. It's like, gosh, I can't even think of what the heck it's called now. Can I remember? I have Velocitron. That's it. Sorry, I had to look it up. The Speedia 500 collection. Racing Transformers. But here, I'll pull it up for you so you can see. My buddy Jason over at Cracktastic Plastic, another awesome show, and formed to join over on Facebook, and they have a great show where they talk about toys, but they're very Transformer centric over there. They love their Transformers, and we were chatting a little bit about this because he was one of the first people to show these pictures. Yeah, here is a bunch of characters. They've got 8 new characters coming out as part of this Velocitron series. They look super badass. Now, these are a shared exclusive, so you can get them through the convention, or you can get them over at Walmart.com. And they are available to pre-order now. Now, whether or not they are still available or pre-orders have sold out. That I am not sure. So you're going to have to go check that out yourself. But if you're not listening live and you're listening to this a few days from now or a week from now, I apologize if they're already gone. But yeah, people are really excited about these new Transformers figures, and rightfully so, because I think they look great. These are the only photos I was able to get my hands on right now. But I do believe that if you go over to HASBROPulse.com, you can find more detailed photos of them on there. And I think you can order them. I believe it's a shared thing. You can get them through Hasbro Pulse as well as Walmart. So if it sells out on one, check the other, because that happens all the time. I'll go look for something over at Hasbro Pulse, and it'll say, oh, pre-orders are sold out, and I get mad and yell. But then I go over and I look on the partner site, whether it's Target or Walmart, and sometimes it's available over there, or vice versa. Not so much with Target, because Target is so annoying. I get so annoyed with Target because, oh my gosh, their whole website is just so screwy, and they've canceled orders on me recently for stupid reasons. And but Walmart, it's bad when I'm actually sitting here saying I prefer ordering this stuff from Walmart than I do from Target. That's not good, Target. That's not a good look on you when I'm sitting here saying Walmart's better. So speaking of Walmart exclusives, there's other Walmart exclusives, another Transformers one, and as well as some other stuff that I thought was really cool. And I will show you here. They are doing, now they had done a, no bueno Target, Megan says. Yeah, agreed. They are doing another mashup thing. They've been doing these mashups for a while now. I've talked about it on here, where they did the Transformers and Ghostbusters mashup with the Ecto one, and they did the Top Gun jet before. Well, now they've got a Maverick one. They're doing another mashup jet that is available for pre-order right now at Walmart and I believe on Hasbro as well. You could see it there on the screen. I think that looks great. I love the packaging on that. I love the way they're displaying that. I'm a sucker for the jets, man. I love the planes and the jets. So that is awesome. Another one is they have, and this is another thing I'm a sucker for, is they have a 4-pack of Turtles in a really cool box. You can see there on the screen, and it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sewer Heroes. So these are turtles that are in different kinds of like superhero guises and stuff. It's pretty cute. It's pretty silly. It's totally turtles. So they are coming in a 4-pack box like they've done in the past for several of the other Turtles packs. I have one that I think it's still behind me on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, I think it is. Yep, it's right there. I'll move out of the way. This is a 4-pack, and I think that was the Movie Star collection. Yeah, that was the one from that set. So this is on the same idea. It's going to come in a box similar to that, but it's going to be the 4 sewer heroes. I thought that was really cool. Both the Maverick jet as well as the Ninja Turtles 4-pack is available for pre-order right now. So if you want to go look for those, I suggest you do it, because they ain't going to last very long. Moving on, a couple things I wanted to bring up. I'll try to show this. There's a lot here. Unfortunately, I'm just going to show you one big chart. But of course, San Diego Comic-Con is pretty much synonymous with Funko. Funko always has a slew of cool pops and some of the soda pops and stuff that come out in conjunction with Comic-Con every year, and this year is no exception. I'll pull up the chart there. There is a whole bunch of them. A couple of the ones that I thought were particularly cool is I love the South Park figure. I think that's Stan done up like Tron. Of course, because I'm a Tron fanatic, I really want that. That's a really cool figure. There's new stuff coming from Marvel, from Star Wars. Another one that's there that you might be able to see there in the middle that I'm particularly excited about is a Miss Minutes I don't know. Do you people remember Miss Minutes? She was the little clock thing that would pop up in Loki. That was we don't really know what's up with Miss Minutes. If you remember at the spoiler alert, if you remember at the end of Loki, Miss Minutes was a little manipulative there. Yeah, see, Kim says the same thing, liking that Miss Minutes. Me too. That was the one out of this whole bunch. Now, there's a bunch of great ones there, but that Miss Minutes was the one that I was like, ooh, that's really neat. And I think that, if I'm reading that correctly, I think it's one of the bigger ones. So it's like, is that Miss Minutes almost like actual, like, life size? Like, almost would, like, fit above your, sit on your shoulder, like in the Loki TV show? If so, that's pretty damn cool. So what's cool about this chart, though, it might be a little hard for those to see, especially if you're watching this like on your phone or something, but you can find this chart of the Funko Pops. What's cool about this chart and why I wanted to put that, Carrie says, yes, it's 10 inches tall. That is awesome. I'm so buying that because I loved Loki. That was probably my favorite of all the shows, but we'll see. We still have to talk about that someday, Megan. Megan and Matt and I are overdue to talk more about the MCU TV shows, but that'll be coming up soon. But anyway, I definitely going to get that Miss Minutes. But what's cool about this chart is it's a shared retail exclusive chart. So you can either screen grab this or you can Google this if you're interested. But this chart lets you know all of the shared retail outlets where you can find these different Funkos if you're interested in them. And it makes it so much easier because even just when I was preparing for this episode and with the news coming out, trying to get some of the info, like finding out where were these going to be available, if at all, what was the price going to be, what was the number, because a lot of these figures are made in limited numbers. What was the number going to be? Some of this info is not as easy to get as you would hope, especially in today's day and age with the internet. You'd think it'd be easy, but sometimes these companies they don't get it right. Funko gets it right, and they know their audience, and so you can use this chart to go seek out any and all of these characters if you're interested. So yeah, lots of Funko there. I'm not going to dwell too long on that because we have, hopefully, like I said, this was a last minute episode, but hopefully by the next episode, we're going to cover Funko like in detail and stuff. So we might talk a little bit more about some of these new exclusives. Hey, Javier's here. Javier, how are you doing, dude? I'm digging the Huckleberry Hound. I was thinking that too. I love that Huckleberry Hound. I thought that was looking really cool. Carrie says, glows in the dark. I got the GameStop Black Kristen. Yeah, I thought that's a really cool one too. Yeah, GameStop always gets really, really cool exclusive stuff, unfortunately for me. Because I can't keep buying all this stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a few really cool ones there. So like I said, if you couldn't see it on the screen there, just Google that chart because you'll be able to find it. Funko made that readily available for everybody, and it'll direct you to everywhere you got to go to find those exclusives. One last thing before I get into the big thing, which everybody knows is going to be Star Wars. I was super excited to see that Rubies, which is, if you're not familiar with Rubies is like right now is pretty much like the premier company for Halloween costumes and decor and stuff these days. Rubies now owns, they do Ben Cooper stuff. So if you ever see any kind of like throwback Ben Cooper stuff, that's Rubies. Well, they have an awesome booth. And I would be absolutely visiting this if I was at Comic-Con this year. They have this awesome booth where they're showing all these cool Ben Cooper throwback stuff. Look at those boxed costumes. Oh my God. I love Halloween costumes, the old ones from the 60s and 70s and the 80s. I love those things with all my heart. I only have a small handful of them. I don't know how many I have. I don't know. Probably half a dozen, maybe. Or, somewhere around there. And I've got some vintage. I've got a couple of the newer ones. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I do. I have one right up here. Hang on. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even have one behind me. Yeah, I think I even although this isn't Ben Cooper, this is a Collegeville. For those that don't know much about these, there were two main companies that made the costumes back in the old days, and it was Ben Cooper and Collegeville. This is a Collegeville example one, but I've got this really cool safari tiger costume. I just love these things. These are some of my favorite things from childhood. Javier says the masks are great, but a little creepy. Yeah, well, perfect. It's Halloween. It should be a little creepy, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, so they're doing these kind of things again. Some of you may have seen that, like, you can find like the Star Wars ones. You could get Yoda and Darth Vader and stuff. You can find those in like Target. And I love the fact that they're bringing back the Ben Cooper. I'm going to bring that up again. They're bringing back the Ben Cooper stuff. From what I've read online, a lot of people were really excited about this booth, and they were getting a lot of foot traffic over there, so that's great. On the right there, you see they've got these really cool shirts. I love that Creature from the Black Lagoon shirt there. Man, this is just that old school devil. That's so speaking to me. If I was there, I would definitely have bought the shirts for sure. Megan says, hopefully Ben Cooper will make what Jess and I want to be for Halloween this year. Yeah, maybe. I already know what you guys are going to be for Halloween this year, but I won't spoil it. I know you probably want to keep it a surprise, but it's going to be a pretty cool costume for the two of you to do and everything. What was it? Was it last year? When was it that you guys did, Beetlejuice and Delia? I think it was last year. I think, yeah. Javier says gremlins on the bottom look cool. Exactly. Yeah, man. I love this stuff. Look at that Godzilla mask. Oh, yeah. One of the things I love about going to, when I go to Kane County Toy Show is that's where I usually find a lot of this kind of stuff, because it's hard to come by other than like on eBay, or if you go to like a antique store garage sale or something. But whenever I go to Kane County Toy Show, which is tomorrow actually, I always find stuff like this. That's where I got this safari costume. I think I paid like $25 for it or something. Worth every penny. Absolutely love it. So anyway, I just got really excited about it. Megan says Vito needs that Godzilla. Yeah, he does. Could you imagine? Man, I wish we should have got more stuff like that to do teaser videos when we do our silly teaser spoof video things. Could you imagine Vito walking around being Godzilla with one of those goofy Godzilla masks like that? I still in my head all the time laugh thinking about him with that dinosaur mask thing on, taking the call from the raptor. Use your toe claw. Anyway. So people are like, what are you talking about? Well, if you don't know what you're talking about, go on YouTube and go back and watch some of the old Geeking Poetic teasers. Watch the Jurassic Park ones we did. They were really funny. His face is twice the size of those masks. That's what would make it even funnier, you know? Anyway, all right, the last things I'm going to show here, I think is, I'm going to get into Star Wars, because everybody knows I want to talk about Star Wars toys. So speaking of the shared exclusive stuff, they announced a few things. Here's some stuff that's available right now for pre-order at Walmart. We have a couple of figures from Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I have to admit that Pulse Trooper there that I'm showing, it's like a phase 2 or something like that, Pulse Trooper, because I have a Pulse Trooper that I got from GameStop a couple years back that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite Black Series figures that I was thinking about doing a all-time favorite Black Series episode down the line, and now that I'm stopping collecting them and everything, maybe it's time. But anyway, the Pulse Trooper is one of my favorites, and now they're coming out with this new one, and I might have to order that. Fuck. Oh, man. Pardon my language. But yeah, I may have to order that because I know I'm not buying Black Series, but I am still going to buy the ones that are like favorite characters, and that is a favorite of mine. And then there's that other, that 4LOM looking guy from Obi-Wan Kenobi, that bounty hunter droid guy. That guy looks super cool too. May not get. I love those characters, but I may not get that one. But that Pulse Trooper, I gotta get that. And then there's a really cool, going back one last thing about the Funko Pops, there's a really cool Luke Skywalker diorama figure from Funko Pop that's a Walmart exclusive that has the first issue of the Marvel Star Wars comic from 1977 as its backdrop. I think that is killer. So, I mean, I'm a big collector of the Marvel Star Wars. Hey, Eric, how's it going, dude? Eric Richard. I have that comic. Yep, me too. Exactly. That's why and that's the kind of thing that speaks to me because I love the Marvel Star Wars comics. I know they're at least in my top 10 favorite Marvel comics of all time series. I don't have all of them. I don't have a complete run of all, 106, 107? I forget where it ended. It ended somewhere around there. I don't have the whole run, but I've got a lot of them. So, hey, saying hey back to Eric. So, yeah, when I saw that exclusive of the Funko Luke with that comic backdrop, I was like, oh man, I don't buy too many of those, the diorama style ones. I have a couple of them, but that one kind of speaks to me. That would look real cool posed with, on a shelf with some of my favorite Marvel Star Wars comics, just saying. All right, so more exclusive stuff. Another con exclusive that they announced that I know a lot of people are digging. And this is, and you know what? This is more an example of what I was talking about when we were talking about the package debate earlier. They have this cool all black on black Boba Fett that's based from one of the comic books. Forgive me, I can't think of the title of it right now. If somebody knows, feel free to jump in and say. But you know, he comes with that awesome like battle axe plus his jetpack and his gun and all that. And he comes in one of those boxes I was talking about that I thought was going to be more the way they were going to go when they said they were omitting the plastic clear windows. And he's more just sort of like in this inside little cubby thing where he's affixed to the backing, but you can actually touch the figure. Like there is no window. And it's kept shut with those. You can see the little Velcro spots on there that keeps it shut when it's sitting on the shelf. I think that's a great solution there. I think that's really, really cool. Yeah, no, I don't think that's from Dark. Well, maybe it is from Dark Empire. You know what? I think you might be right. I'm trying to think of what the story arc it is specifically from. I'm losing nerd points here, man. I should know all this stuff, but I can't remember it all. Javier says it looks sick. I agree. This is an exclusive that I think is only available from the con. You might be and through Hasbro Pulse, I believe. But if I heard correctly, surprise, surprise, this thing, the pre-orders and everything is already sold out of this. So if you want that one, I would get on it now and see if you can find it. A lot of times with these, especially when it comes to Hasbro Pulse, if you keep checking back regularly, they'll get them back and they'll put them out for very brief periods of time. So I would say look there, or you might want to start looking at some of the secondhand sellers online and see what they have available and get it for a cheaper price. But there we go. Carrie. Leave it to Carrie. Of course, you know. It's from War of the Bounty Hunters. That's it. I couldn't think of the name of it. You just ordered one? Awesome, dude. That's great. I'm glad you were able to get that. That's killer. See? I'm good. I'm glad I'm doing somebody some good. May not be doing your wallet any good, but I'm glad that I'm introducing you to some cool stuff. Yeah, I think that's awesome. I would be ordering that, but again, it's Black Series, and truth be told, if I have to choose between that Purge Trooper or that Boba Fett, I know that Boba Fett is a little more unique, and it's probably way more limited, but I'm probably going to get that Purge Trooper because I'm just a fool for those cool troopers, man. But I cannot front anymore. The thing that, along with those Migos and the Eternia playset, the thing that I am the most excited about, and the thing that just made me almost leap off the couch when I was reading it earlier, was the fact that they made an announcement that they are continuing the Star Wars Retro Collection. Now, the Retro Collection has been met with positivity and negativity. And I kind of see both sides of it for some of the reasons. Now, they started coming out with these back when I first started doing this show, back in 79. It feels like it. Back in 2019 or so, they started coming out with the retro figures when they came out with the first 6 reproduction of the first 6 Star Wars figures from the late 70s. And they had Han, Luke, Chewie, Leia, Vader, and Stormtrooper. Loved them. People debated, and even I debated, about whether or not the pseudo shelf-worn packaging was cool or not. Jury's still out on that, but it is what it is. What is cool about those is they're really nice, faithful reproductions of those figures, but there is enough discerning telltale signs on them to be able to tell the difference between an original and one of these new retro collection ones. So I'm 100% behind them doing it. Then they did the Empire Strikes Back ones in 1980, or from 1980 in the year 2020. Yeah. I can't do math. Me no math good. As these are all being done as like 40th anniversary. Those were awesome. They did things like Bespin Luke, Boba Fett, Han Hoth, etc., etc. I talked about them and showed them off plenty on the show. So go back and watch those if you need to go back and watch. Hey, Paul's here. Holy shit. It's Paul. You already missed me talking about the awesome fucking new Spider-Man toys. They're coming out with a Spidey and His Amazing Friends 3-pack from HASBRO, Paul. So you got to go check that out at HASBRO Pulse. I know you're like, no, don't tell me about more fucking toys that I don't need, because I know you want to focus on lightsabers, and I don't blame you. But yeah, you'll have to go back. There's some really, really cool Spider-Man toys that they're going to be coming out with from HASBRO Legends and stuff. They're redoing Rhino, dude. From remember the Rhino from the Spidey animated series. They're doing a big version of that. I talked about it earlier. Go back and check that out. He does need those. Yeah, dude, go look it up, man. They're redoing with the old Spider-Man animated series packaging, but they're doing a Marvel Legends version of fucking Rhino. It's super awesome, man. Anyway, so Eric says, I say the retro line is better than a restoration kit. Yeah, I mean, I like them both, man. I think it's both cool. I'm all for any of it. People get bent out of shape about restos and repros and all that stuff, and I know there's a lot of like salacious assholes out there that try to scam people and stuff, and it can get really tricky when you're trying to be a total original completist and everything. But I think that as long as things are identifiable and you can still tell that it's not, nobody's trying to rip anybody off into believing that it's some valuable old toy from 45 years ago, then I'm all for it. It's fine with me. Anyway, Paul says, oh man, all this, 12-inch animated, those are great. Anyway, so they came out with all those retro figures, and everybody got really, or a lot of us got really excited about those Star Wars retro figures. And everybody was hoping they were going to continue to make more of those retro figures. And they did, but then they started doing it for the new series. They did a couple of waves of them for the Mandalorian, which, that was cool. But obviously those were new characters for the most part, and they were new molds. These weren't reproductions of ones that we had as kids. They were just made to look like the ones we had as kids. It's similar to those. Okay, cool. Then they did it for Obi-Wan. Now they've got ones that they just announced with like Third Sister and all that kind of stuff. And again, that's cool. That's great. It's nice to have figures of these newer characters that have just been introduced into the Star Wars universe, but they can sit there on the shelf alongside your vintage Bosk figure and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But everybody was kind of bumming like, well, when are they going to come out with any more? Because it just feels incomplete that they didn't do more of these actual retro repro ones from the 70s and 80s. Well, they are finally doing that, and they are doing it as a box set. Here is the box set. They are going to come out with the other 6 figures from the original 12. Oh, baby, I'm all in. I mean, everything from the look at that box, and then the fact that it's those figures, and some of those figures that they're showing there are some of my all-time favorite figures. You have the Tusken Raider there, and he's got his goofy vinyl cape around his arms and that gaffy stick. You've got Paul says, "Okay, I need those too." Yeah, and then you've got Obi-Wan Kenobi with his goofy cape and the lightsaber that comes out of his arms. You've got, and I know this is like super nerdy, but hey, we're all nerds here, right? You've got the Death Squad commander, and what's particularly cool about that is if you look at the box, it says Death Squad commander. Now, what's significant about that is that they changed that back in the day. The first version of him, when he first came out in 78, in early 78, he was the Death Squad commander. And then before long, I guess they didn't like the idea of him being called a Death Squad. Maybe, that conjures up some negative images to certain people about certain historical things. So they changed it to the Star Destroyer commander. And from like 79 on or 80 on, he was the Star Destroyer commander. So I think it's cool that they didn't make it Star Destroyer commander. They actually put Death Squad commander like he properly was back in the original release back in, early 78. So that's awesome. Finally, so many of us have been begging for this. They finally are doing some of the droids. We've got C-3PO with the vac metal gold on there, which a lot of people thought was never going to happen because there's issues with vac metal paint now, I guess, with figures. Like it's another health thing, I guess. Like it's hard to get that done, and I guess it's quite costly. So we thought we'd never get a 3PO, a repro 3PO like that, or a repro R2 because he's got the sprayed dome. But there they are, man. We're fucking getting them. Finally. It's awesome. And then last but not least, Jawa, with his goofy little Jawa gun and his brown sock looking robe. I mean, to me, this is killer. And they're going to be available in this box set, and it's going to be available through Hasbro Pulse as well as DisneyStore.com. Now, to my knowledge, this has not been put up for sale yet. I don't have a date on it yet, but I would suggest if you're interested, just keep your eyes peeled. And as soon as I hear about it, I will definitely share it in the Geeking Squad group, and I'll talk about it here on the show. A bunch of you guys have been talking. Javier says it looks legit. Yeah. Eric says, been trying to find a Y-Wing, Snow Speeder, and a B-Wing. Oh, dude. Yeah, surprised about the price tags on those? Yeah, those 3 in particular. I think the Snow Speeder, the Empire Strikes Back Snow Speeder, it's probably my favorite vintage Star Wars vehicle, at least with the toys, That's probably my favorite. I love that the 2 cannons lit up and they made that horrible laser sound, and it had the grappling hook gun and everything on the back. You could fit both pilots in there. Absolutely love that toy, and I don't have one. I have a lot of Star Wars toys, but I don't have that. I don't have any of the ones you just mentioned, so we're in the same boat. I don't have a Y-Wing anymore, and I never had the B-Wing. B-Wing came out like just at the end when I stopped collecting toys, so I never got one, and then by the time I became an adult collector, they were like impossible to find. That's a tough one. He says, looks like these figures. Yeah, exactly. That's what I love about this, is that it looks like an early bird set. If you've seen, for those at home, if you've ever seen the old Star Wars early bird kit from 77, from that classic Christmas of 77, that's what they went for with this. So, I mean, talk about just speaking to the middle-aged, nerd that I am. I have to have this. So yeah, I just thought that's just so cool. And one last thing about that is, in addition to that, they announced, they didn't have any pictures or anything yet, but they announced that since next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, they are going to do retro collection figures for Return of the Jedi. And the first 6 that are going to come out is going to be Jedi Luke, so it's going to be that black suited Luke that came with the handheld saber as well as the pistol, and then the brown cloth cape. They're doing Leia as Boosh, the bounty hunter, so she's going to have, if you remember that figure from back in the day, it's going to be an exact reproduction of that. It's going to be Han in his Endor trench coat. It's going to be Lando in the skiff guard disguise, so he'll have the removable helmet and the big skiff laser axe thing. The Emperor, so crusty old man with his cane. And last but not least, the Biker Scout. So that is awesome. Like, so many people are really excited that we're going to get repros of those, if you want to call it. I know people get mad I call them repro, but that's what they are. They're reproductions. They're retro collections of those. Because some of those figures are tough to get, man. It's hard to find a complete Leia Boosh, and it's hard to find a complete Luke Jedi unless you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on them, even loose. I'm not even talking about packaged, folks. I'm talking loose anymore. Just finding the figure anymore. You try to get like a loose, complete, and really good shape Jedi Luke with the proper original gun and saber and the cape and stuff, or the cloak rather. And then if you find one of the rare ones that had the clasp cloak, it's even more expensive. You're going to pay $200 for that. Easy. $200-$300 maybe. And if you get them graded, forget about it. Just forget about it. Anyway, so Eric says, never had the B-Wing or the Imperial shuttle. Nope, I never had those either. Like I said, those came at the end. Those were like 84, 85. Those toys came out at the very end. And by that point, I was buying like Motley Crue and Possessed records and stuff like that, and trying to save up to buy guitar strings and shit. So I missed out on those. And then again, of course, by the time I became an adult collector in the 90s, people were like, oh yeah, good luck finding those, buddy, unless you want to spend, even at that point, hundreds of dollars. So we're older than middle-aged, Paul says. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're the new middle age. You got to remember, being 50 is like the new 40, and 60 is the new 50. So I'm going to hang on to that middle until I'm like eligible for like AARP. I'm middle aged. All right. Once I'm eligible for that senior discount at the diner, then forget it. We're just flat out old by that point. But Eric says Jedi Luke, Imperial Guard, and the Biker Scout. Yeah, a lot of people were hoping they were going to announce the Imperial Guard in the retro line, but yeah, but they might do a second wave. You never know. They very much could, especially if these things are selling well. I mean, Hasbro likes to make money, so who knows? But anyway, all right. That's everything for that. Real quick, I know this is already running super long, but people are used to me doing 2-hour episodes of this anyway. I just want to open a couple of things. I won't even do the whole intro thing because nobody cares. But I got a box here from a really cool store I've talked about them before. It's a company called Popo Loco. We were robbed, yeah. Javier's laughing at my ARP comment. It's true, man. I'm not far from it. A few more years, and they're already sending me mail about that shit. Anyway, so I ordered some toys a while back. I've had this in my possession for a while from an awesome company called PopoLoco.com. And Vince from Popo Loco's even popped into the comments before, which made me very happy. Thank you for your support, Vince. But here we go. I ordered some cool stuff that I wanted to show off. What do I have here? All right, hang on. So, I got a couple things. All right, first of all, since we're talking about Star Wars, I am still collecting the Vintage Collection figures, and I was trying to fill in a couple of voids in lines. I collected all the Vintage Collection Mandalorian figures, and oddly enough, I know this isn't necessarily supposed to be a hard-to-find figure to some people, but one figure that I just never found on the shelves anywhere was Mithral. You guys remember Mithral? Here, I'll turn on. Let me turn on a little close-up cam for y'all. There you go. Sorry if it's not the greatest quality there, but it is what it is. So yeah, I got the Mithral figure, and I just couldn't find this anywhere, honestly. And once again, Vince over at Papa Loco came through, and he came through with a fabulous price. This was really affordable. So he's always good for... that's one of the main things I love about Papa Loco is like when there's these certain ones that I'm like, I just never saw it. Somehow it missed me, and then eventually I go look over there, and they have it. So that's awesome. And as always, he immaculately packages his stuff. He makes sure things don't slide around and everything. And then this is not Star Wars, but man, I was just talking earlier when I was talking about the Ben Cooper t-shirts and costumes, you know, my love for Creature from the Black Lagoon. And check this out. Look at this awesome Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon. I am such a sucker for the Creature. I try to get as many of these as I can of, you know, because he's come out in different formats. I've got, you see... over here, you see my Creech back there. Wave at him. Everything. I got a big one. He's always popping out over the figures there. I love Creature, and they've come out with these figures. This one was an Entertainment Earth exclusive, and I actually got a better deal on it from Papa Loco. So, love these. I love I'm not like the biggest horror guy, as I always say, but I mostly am referring to like modern... late 80s and on horror, especially 90s and on horror. I'm not a big fan, but classic horror and Hammer horror and 70s weird horror stuff, I love that. And Creature is one of my probably my favorite horror creature figure, whatever, to collect. Javier says, just want to say I barely noticed your David Bowie labyrinth behind you. Love it. That is actually the property of Miss Megan. That is her book. She wanted to get a little something. Well, there's a couple things back there because Megan, here, let me move over so you can see it. There you go. Yeah, they got that Labyrinth book. I think, did Jess get that for you? Yeah, Jess got you that book. So that's her Labyrinth book. We put that up there. Yep, and she's got a Labyrinth mug up here, and then we've got you know, she and I both collect the glasses, the old collector's glasses. You guys probably remember these. You guys remember these things, right? These glasses you could get from Burger King and McDonald's. This is one of my Muppets ones. Yeah. Oh, you got to bounce? All right, Eric. It's good to see you, dude. Thanks for stopping in. We're almost done here anyway. But anyway, so, yeah. Had to get a little bit of Labyrinth in there for her and everything because Megan likes Labyrinth a little bit, just a little bit. So I got one more box here that I'm going to open right now. Javier remembers the glasses. Man, I love those glasses. That was so fun, man. Back in the days when fast food just didn't feel so crusty and crummy and bad for you, and you had to worry about your cholesterol and all that kind of stuff. You could get your parents or older brothers or whomever to take you to the fast food place and get a Happy Meal and get a toy and a glass. Man. So this is from HASBRO, if I recall. Yeah. I think this is HASBRO. Yeah, I should be wearing glasses. I'm not old, damn it. Anyway. Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure what this was, and this is what I was hoping it was going to be. This is pretty cool. Another Star Wars thing. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this or not or heard about this, but This was a limited exclusive from Hasbro. I think it was only available at Hasbro. And it is... Oh, wait, hang on, Paul. I need all 3 sets of the Burger King Star Wars glasses. I'm on the hunt. Okay. I'll keep an eye out for those, dude, because I have a bunch of them, but I need some of them too, so I'm always looking. Anyway, speaking of Star Wars, so this was just something I had to get. I know I said... Again, I said, I'm not going to be collecting the Black Series so much anymore. I can't afford it. Well, this was something I ordered quite a long time ago, and they just finally came out with it. It is George Lucas in Stormtrooper disguise. Look at this. Come on, man. I mean, even if I'm not collecting Black Series religiously anymore like I used to, there was no way I couldn't get this. This is just killer. It's actually a really good likeness of Lucas too. Look at that. And you can actually put the helmet on him if you open him up. And this one I'm not going to open up, obviously, but on the back, it's got here. Sorry, could be showing this a little better. On the back, you can see it's got like a whole story synopsis thing about the figure, talk about the whole, and it's perfect for the whole 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm LTD thing. Yeah, I love it. I ordered this, man, I pre-ordered this thing like a freaking year or more ago. It took forever for me to finally get this thing, and I saw a few people posting about it online, showing theirs off, and I was starting to get real worried. I'm like, oh man, don't screw me out of that one, because I really want this one. And it finally showed up, so very happy with that. As you can see, get a bigger shot up there. Sorry, I know it's not great focus there, but is what it is. So anyway, thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, you get to see a few new toys shown off as well. And that's it, folks. I know my episodes go so damn long, but I was actually originally supposed to have a gig tonight, and the stupid bar that booked us did a double booking thing or something happened that they ended up having to... Thankfully, it's a reschedule. They're rescheduling us, but I'm not used to having a Saturday night off. Anybody that knows me, man, I do not get Fridays and Saturday nights off very often. I mean, as an example, next week I'm playing I'm busy from like Thursday through Sunday, so it's, you know, it's going to be back to the next few weeks. I've got just full dance cards, as they say. Javier says, would have been cool if they'd put George Lucas in a Vader costume. That's an awesome idea. That would be really cool, but I don't think they would do that. But yeah, I would. Man, can you imagine if they did more things like that? I always wondered, you know what they've never made? I don't think they've ever made, and it would be perfect for the Black Series. Did they ever make any kind of Stormtrooper not Stormtrooper, I'm sorry, Vader, that had the mask broken where you saw Luke's face underneath it, like from that Dagobah scene, when Luke fights, basically he's like fighting against himself or whatever in his head. He fights in that cave against that Vader. Did they ever do a figure of that? I'm trying to remember. I don't know if they ever did that. Surprises me if they hadn't. But that would be a really good one for Black Series. But anyway, all right, yeah, that's it for me. So as I said, I know I covered a load of toy announcements in this episode. But there's been more, and there's more coming. I just thought it'd be fun to actually talk about it now, especially so if there were things just like Carrie that sought out that Boba Fett that I talked about earlier, that exclusive all-black Boba Fett. I wanted to give you guys the heads up about this stuff in case you weren't aware while this stuff is still available, because all these exclusives and things, they're going to be gone quick. Many of them I think are already pre-sold out, so just giving you a heads up ahead of time. And yeah, that's it for me. I'll probably be back obviously sometime next month. I'm gonna hopefully be back with Megan and Matt, and we're gonna talk about the Funkos and stuff that we've been overdue to talk about. I still plan on doing, especially now with the recent announcement of the new 50th anniversary World's Greatest Superhero Migos. I still need to do like a whole Mego episode. One of these days, I need to get Paul on here, and we'll talk about stuff, because he's got quite a collection of different things too, and he knows all about this because he's as big or more of a nerd than I am, and I'm sure he would agree with me on that. So anyway, folks, that is it for me, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon. So have a safe weekend, and talk to you later. Bye.